How to talk to your partner about their unhealthy habits when you're in a relationship with someone. There are some things you know right away, almost without even realizing that you know them. And there are some things that you don't discover until later on, as your relationship progresses and takes hold. Little quirks, daily or weekly routines, and habits good and bad tend to reveal themselves with time. Often, these personality idiosyncrasies can seem endearing. They're part of what you love about the other person, or, at least, they're not slightly annoying yet. But what about the habits that maybe aren't so healthy? At first, you might love and appreciate the gifts they buy for you or the surprise trips they bring you on, but over time you may realize that it's a bad habit because they're living beyond their means. Or maybe you like how fun, carefree, and affectionate they are when you both have gone out and had a few drinks, but after a little while, you start to worry that maybe the number of drinks, frequency of outings is getting too high. It can be tough to talk to those you care about regarding sticky situations. Conversations about habits they have that you worry could be unhealthy are difficult, but there are some things you can keep in mind to make them a little bit easier, and, ideally, more successful. Smoking is an addiction. Nicotine use is hard to quit. Whether your partner has recently taken up smoking, or it's something that didn't bother you before but worries you now, it can be really difficult to start the conversation about quitting if he or she doesn't bring up the subject first. Quitting smoking requires a lot of support. If you're going to talk to your partner about their smoking habit, it's of the utmost importance that you approach the topic with understanding, empathy, and support. As smokefree.gov notes, if they mention they're even slightly considering quitting, make sure you respond positively and without any sort of judgment. You can also bring up the topic by asking if they've ever thought about quitting or mentioning information you've recently seen, heard, or read about smoking. Make sure they know that you're there for them. Ask questions, and listen more than you speak during the conversation. Their quitting and the challenge it will pose is about their experience, and their feelings are valid and legitimate. Drinking, like smoking, alcoholism, is an addiction. While you may feel like you need to talk to your partner about their drinking habits even if you don't think or aren't sure that they're addicted, keep that fact in mind before proceeding. As Sarah, of Benton, Mississippi, LMHC, LPC, wrote in Psychology Today, many who are in relationships with high-functioning alcoholics feel that it's difficult at times to connect with their partner emotionally. It's absolutely essential that any conversation with your partner about his or her drinking habits should take place when everyone is sober, though having the conversation while your partner is hungover is okay. In fact, Benton wrote that it can be especially effective because your partner may be feeling slightly guilty or ashamed, which, while you don't want to pile on to those feelings, can help the conversation resonate better. When having conversations about other potentially unhealthy habits, it can be important to keep the conversation focused on your partner. However, in this case, emphasizing how their drinking habits worry you or make you feel can prevent them from getting as defensive as they may otherwise. It's natural for them to feel a bit defensive, but sometimes when someone feels defensive, it can be hard to really hear what the other person is trying to tell you. Don't lecture. It usually doesn't help. Unhealthy eating: you eat lean proteins, plenty of fruits and vegetables, and healthy whole grains. Your partner prefers anything once it's been fried. You cook after work. Your partner's more likely to hit the drive-through line on the way home. Whether or not you feel like your partner's eating habits warrant a serious conversation, the longer you're in a relationship, the more likely you are to have serious or not so serious conversations about food and what you're going to eat. According to a 2003 study published in the journal Appetite, married couples' eating preferences and habits often converge and meld as their relationship goes along. For couples who didn't adapt, there were often food conflicts. Talking about unhealthy eating or weight gain can be a really sensitive conversation. It's important to remember that your partner may have associations with eating specific foods or gaining weight that are more complicated or upsetting than you may initially understand. Staying calm and trying to be sensitive are good places to start. An article from Greatest recommends that you make suggestions, such as cooking a healthy meal together, as a way to begin the conversation. Perhaps you can let them choose a meal, and the two of you can try to make whatever it is a bit healthier. It's a start. Compromise and be patient. Neither of you have to change your eating habits entirely to mesh with the others. It's all about balance, and figuring out what that balance is for the two of you can take time. A 2006 study illustrates this idea: compromise and accommodation